Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week it was James's pick, so we're doing the movie Requiem for a Dream, made in 2000. And we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charnier, James Stevens, Ryan Princess Preston, and Jeff Michael. Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. Like I said in the opening, we're doing Requiem for the Dream, and according to IMDb's usually amazing description, it's the drug-induced utopias of four Coney Island individuals are shattered when their addiction becomes stronger. So who wants to start?
Well, I think we got to go odd man out.
Yep.
Who's that?
You.
Me? Okay.
You're the only one that hasn't seen it before. Who's boycotting it?
To be honest, just was, it was like Train Spotting. It was never really a movie that I was really wanting to see. Just not my thing.
Well, it's a movie you really have to be in the mood for.
Yes.
Is there a mood to be for this movie?
Yes.
It's not one of those, hey, I got a Saturday night off, let's throw this on for fun.
On the other hand, if you were in a bunch of party, I could totally see putting that on just to see people's reaction, going, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I gotta say, when it comes to being, the strange list of movies, this, wasn't as bad. I was thinking this was gonna be like a Clockwork Orange strange. This was...
This was Requiem for a Dream strange.
Yeah.
Well, I think for its time.
Luckily the strangeness was set sort of in a drug-induced world, so it had a context.
Yeah.
But it actually makes a lot of sense if anybody's had friends with drug problems. This totally makes more sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, and I think when you were saying it wasn't as shocking, during its time it was. Once, if you watch this when it first came out, you were like, oh my God, I need to wash my brain after what you just saw. But now it's gotten to the point where we're so numb to... Shock, yeah. I mean, there's really we've pushed the bar so far that this isn't as shocking anymore as it really was and should be.
Oh, by the way,
well, and not to mention the what people do with shock stuff nowadays, they're doing it for shock value, whereas then it was doing it to make a point.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, my first reaction when I saw this movie, holy shit, it's a Wayans brother.
It's a Wayans brother and actually a good role for him.
And which, by the way, I was actually really, really impressed with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something I don't think I've ever... Nope, I've never said that before. So
and this is the goofiest Wayans brother, too.
I'm pretty sure this was right around the time that he was doing the Wayans brothers show with his brother.
I think it was right after. I think the show had just stopped in like 99 or 2000
he was still
or something.
that guy to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that really amazed me about this movie is everybody in this movie, non-drug addicts alike, are all hallucinating stuff. Like his mom was hallucinating that game show.
Yeah.
Well, his mom was on a mean speed trip.
It was, speed,
right.
yeah.
I actually loved the way they showed the hallucinations, like the one where you had...
Wow, that was right.
When you had what's his name? The main character looking at the doorway, right? And he was staring out and seeing Jennifer Connelly on the pier, which was very similar to a scene in Dark City where Jennifer Connelly was also in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, was 1998, so they probably borrowed that scene.
I don't know. I really do like this director, although he does do a lot of strange films.
Yeah.
Well, this one...
He just did Black Swan. That was his.
Well, the benefit of doing strange movies, you get to do some pretty interesting cinematography.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I like strange films. It keeps the movie industry not boring for me.
Yeah.
Because you get mundane and the same action film and the same sci-fi film. And this.
I agree with you in that, but also I think that just watching exclusively strange films is just not good for somebody.
Well, it depends on what kind of, I guess, strange you're saying, because there's other strange where it's like strange comedy where it's funny, but this is more of the, I think, the shocker strange, you know what I mean, where it's more of a, oh my God, did you you see that kind of thing?
I think the benefit of this, though, is it's actually shot really well. I mean, like from the scenes where they transition to one room of the other, to the hallucinations, to the scene where they're shooting up. Everything here was actually well done. Versus if it was done like a shaky hand camera, it would have been a crappy strange movie.
True, but I mean, it's still in the strange era.
And you bringing up that I did a lot. I liked a lot of the cinematography. And the split screens that they would do where he's like facing Jennifer Connelly and they're sitting there and you can see his hand moving and then you can see where it cut off, that scene where they're laying together. That was actually a really well done artistic piece of cinematography.
The parts I actually thought were the coolest was the ones, when it showed them, say, let's do drugs, and it shows them ripping up the packet. Doing that whole bit I actually thought was an ingenious way of showing that.
Yeah.
With the way where it was like...
Yeah.
And it just...
And
when I first saw it, when I was younger, that whole, 2 screens in one thing actually kind of, like, bothered me.
Really? Why?
It was too... Maybe it's because I was on those drugs, but it was...
That might do it.
It's like, dude, it doesn't do that to you.
Off those drugs.
Yeah, right? This is one of those movies that you watch and you go, what the hell was I thinking of doing those drugs? But
right. This movie...
it's not a pro-drug movie. It's anti. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if it would say anti. It's more like if you do this, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, which is anti.
Yeah, I would say I agree with John. It's and you. I think it's anti-drugs in the sense that it shows you the extremes of where the drug addiction can take you, and that's one of the things I really liked about it.
And how quickly your train of thought can lead you to that point.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Jennifer Connelly's character going all the way to the point of being a whore for drugs.
Right.
Which, by the way, that scene, the ending scene is something I'll never forget anytime I watch Jennifer Connelly. Which, by the way, she's one of my favorite actresses. But
yeah, she's great.
She kind of that scene kind of ruined me for a while.
But then you
Jennifer
also
Connelly.
see Jared Leto's character, the Harry.
Yeah.
Who was that guy. He gets to the point where he got his arm cut off. And he's still going through the withdrawals.
Which I think his story out of all of them was like the least...
tragic?
The least tragic and the least... I don't know. I just didn't really care about his character as much as...
as his mom.
Yeah, his mom did, you know what? That was one of the best jobs. I mean, that's pure insanity right there.
Yeah, Ellen
Bernstein
she
did
freaking
a great
nailed
job
that whole
on that.
movie. That was one of the greatest movie transformations I think
Her
I've ever
red
seen.
dress and her just dysfunctional red hair and her just psychotic attitude was great.
I thought the scene where, she started grinding his teeth, I thought that was the one scene that really got you to kind of like, Jared Leto's character. Because Mom, you shouldn't do this. And she's like, why do you know this? Like, oh, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Well, and the other scene that went along with that was when he was cab, when it had the split second, this is what I would, this is what's happening, and it shows him, like, being fine. That was another part I actually thought was well done. But
there's a lot of, actually, I think all the main performances here were, like, spot on for what the characters are supposed to be doing, which is one of the reasons why I say the director, Darren...
Aronofsky.
Thank you. I was going to screw his name up. Thank you, Ryan. He did a great job at pulling out some really good performances from each and every one of these people.
And I'll be honest, I actually think the standout role in here is Marlon Wayans. I mean, this is something that I wish he stuck to more serious movies instead of doing scary movies.
Except for personally, I just
see this and you're like, oh man, you should have. If you would have done one of these, once every 3-4 years, then nobody would ever care how many scary movies you've done.
Because he was still goofy, but his character actually had a fairly amazing amount of depth for what he usually does.
I'll give him, he is talented, but I really, like in this particular film, he did a good job. If he was in more dramas or different other sets, then I think he could, really thrive. But he was, to me... He was the third man out character.
He kind
of focused more on Conley, and the other guy was kind of the more main roles, and then he was just kind of the sidekick that.
It's more like what happens to this guy when he follows Jared Leto's ass.
Yeah, exactly.
He was almost a plot point for how they got drugs. It was almost the way it seemed like. He was an ancillary character that helped tie the plot together, almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. He was good, but like if he was given more roles, I think that's when you can really say, or more lines. That's when I think it would be more proper to say, "Oh no, he's amazing in this role, and he really helped carry the role," as opposed to, I don't know, because you were saying that you thought his was the best performance, but he really wasn't given the amount of dialogue that he needed to portray, to really make a stronger character. I mean, I agree he did a good job, but if he had better lines in this and more lines, I think this is where he would really shine.
I think the reason...
Well, I mean, a lot of his performance was a lot of, lot of non-dialogue reactions to things. But for me, this movie, the devil was really in the details.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be a lot of the details. You know what I mean? It's like you said, as far as how they got drugs, the way they did drugs. I mean, sort of the whole culture that they were involved in. You know, it really helped to sell the whole thing in a really gritty way that people aren't used to seeing.
And the reason why I say he stands out, though, is because the previous movies I've seen him in. I mean, I've seen the other actors and other things, but this is the first role I've seen him in that actually made me sit back and go,
he can act.
Hey, this cat's not bad.
Like I said, is he just finished? Excuse me. He just finished doing the Wayans Brothers show in '99. That's when that show ended.
Perfect.
He did Requiem for a Dream, and then he did the first Scary Movie the same year.
Wow.
Bad choice.
So if we can go back in time, it's that year that we need to stop him.
Yeah, pretty much. Right after he finishes Requiem, say, Scary Movie.
Don't take that role.
Leave your brothers alone. Move
we
away.
Don't need to stop him. We just need to grab him by the lapels and be like, listen, one of these movies is not like the other.
Yeah.
And it's not a scary movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think John's right in the sense that this is actually one of the few roles I can't actually think of another role that Marlon has done that's like this, actually.
I mean, this made me actually excited to see another one of his movies, and I've never ever been like, oh sweet, you know.
Actually, I'm going to look that up.
I was going to say look him up. I think there was one or two I remember him
White
in
Chicks?
Oh yeah, totally. You know, because that movie was the most serious movie of whenever it was.
And did anybody have the same thought when his character was getting arrested? As soon as they saw that, it's like, holy crap, they busted out POV camera. And then every single time one of them got arrested or in trouble, you saw the face POV camera.
Yeah. I think that was meant to show the expression, though, that, you know,
of what, him getting arrested. Everybody here knows somebody's getting arrested.
Well, no, I know, but it's like the dawning of you're caught. You know, it's like, oh,
actually, a lot of the cinematography, and like I was saying before, like sort of the lack of dialogue is their reactions, but it's shot in such a way that where you're just kind of watching the wheels turn in all their heads, sort of based on the context of everything, and it really sort of leaves a lot to just the audience to kind of, you know, understand what's happening. You know?
I do have a kind of a random question. Does anybody really remember the soundtrack in this movie?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I own the damn soundtrack because the shit
great
rules.
Soundtrack.
Because I was, you know, my I'll have to watch it again because my recollection is I don't remember the soundtrack. I mean, to me, the story...
It's spaced out a lot, sort of, between the way they break it down in the soundtrack was like throughout the year, like summer, winter, fall, and spring, I think. And there were like overtures for each one. So it's as far as the soundtrack or the score, it's spaced out pretty sporadically.
Yeah, but the soundtrack kind of stays the same type of song.
Same theme with that violin, and I don't know. I keep noticing it.
Well, because I'm gonna have to watch it again. I really don't remember the soundtrack. It was one of those things I was thinking about afterwards, going, was there music involved? Because I know each season had it, but I don't remember it through like when Marlon was getting arrested.
Moments where she's heading to mail the envelope.
Oh yeah.
And there's music played all the way through. There's different parts where it's usually like when they're kind of like moving to one point to another. They have the score being played throughout.
Right. So was it like
changes in pace, or
was it like tone? Most movies when it has the sudden scene, you hear the dun dun dun, you know?
No, and it was it's not like the Batman theme where it's always reprised at certain moments and it's always the same thing.
No.
And who was the one that played the game show host?
That was what's his name? Christopher. Hold on, I got it right here.
Christopher McDonald.
I really like that actor.
I do too.
He's just kind of the side guy they always pick as just some random character. But I think
Happy Gilmore.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I think he does a great job. Like with this game show host. I mean, he did not that it's hard to play, but he did a perfect job portraying his role character.
Yeah, check this out. Apparently, all of those, or a good portion of his lines were just ad-libbed. They shot all of that in one day, and they said that he just kind of bullshitted most of it.
That makes sense.
That makes that role, though. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. The SAG actors that were in the audience gave him a standing ovation at the end of it because it was such a performance.
I just want to know what that lady was watching. Was it the 24-hour infomercial channel? Because she watched it like 24/8. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Was watching her own insanity. The TV was meant to be part of her brain. Even the expression of the the fridge that comes out later, you know, and everything comes alive and tries to eat her because she won't eat it, you know. I mean,
right.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that I really liked was the progression of her insanity in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It built It built.
And it started so organically.
Yeah, it started subtly and then moved and progressed into full-fledged.
Yeah, because at first you're going, well, she's not that bad off. I mean, her kids are doing horrible. And then later on you're going, holy crap.
Yeah, she's like popping those things like candy.
Well, I actually thought the way they showed everybody going downhill was actually really well done. I think Jared Leto's character... you didn't see him going down really bad until like the very end. But with Jennifer Connelly's character, I think even Marlon Wayans' character, you got to see go down. Jared Leto's, you see him get desperate, but not as desperate as I think of some of the other characters.
I don't know, because there is that scene early on where he hallucinates taking the gun from the cop, and it's playing into the fact of where his mind is going.
Well, I meant like rock bottom, not where the drugs are taken. Because you're right. Because that was another scene that I saw going. You know.
Yeah, his character seemed to be kind of just, I've always got a little bit more of a plan. And then right up till the end, I mean, that's when you see him just like, oh man, how did everything get like this? You know?
Yeah. And I don't know. I think this is one of those movies that sticks with you. And as Jeff said, I think it's a great movie of showing a warning of where these things will take you, and it is to the extreme,
but it still holds up a little bit today.
It does,
you know? Absolutely.
I love the part where it starts out, let's have some fun, and the end of it, Jennifer Connelly's a whore. So I love I do love it, the morality tale side of it, you know.
And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the end of the movie, each and every character curls up into the fetal position.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Connolly's cuddling their drugs.
I'm surprised you haven't said anything about the color in this movie too.
Yeah,
the color.
I was waiting for
the color,
right? I mean, the color is a very big, as Czerny would say, actor in this film. You know, it tells you the mood.
I actually didn't think it was as big as the grittiness of the environment.
Well, if you really look at it, though, like especially like in the old people's home where they are always stealing that TV and then they buy it back, steal the TV, buy it back. It really there's like no life in the color of this film. It kind of it gets darker and darker as it goes. Literally, color panel wise, it just gets
really
darker
dreary.
and darker.
Yeah, because initially when they first go there, it's like bright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's happy, but then
it's bright, but it still has
there's a dinginess to it.
Yeah,
there's
dinginess.
a darker.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a tint to it.
Yeah, that's my point though. Is it starts out that way, but then it darkens throughout the rest of the film. The color becomes more drab.
See, this is why I think New York was the perfect. I think the color played, but I think it was the environment that led to the color choice. Because if you notice, all the areas they shot were dark and dingy. Even the happy-go-lucky places were dark and dingy or half-constructed, like Jennifer Connelly's apartment. You know.
We apologize to you people who live in Brooklyn.
But we're think
sorry.
It's terrible.
Move.
But John says you live in a dark and dreary place.
Get out.
Yeah. Well, that's what they portrayed. And I come on, I didn't say Jersey.
Dark.
I mean, but
You're dirty.
Are you emo? Moved to New York.
even that, what was that diner or that area they were dealing drugs with? You know, they showed it during the nighttime. It was all dirty and, you know.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that was a pretty interesting scene because the way that they did it was they're standing there, then all of a sudden you see like kind of a pass of money, then go get the drugs from one spot, and it kind of repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats type thing. Yeah. I thought that was actually a lot better than actually showing the car pulling up and everything. It cuts out a lot of it and sticks to the main point.
And that was one of the parts I liked about how they, I said earlier, how it showed them doing drugs.
Yeah.
They got the point across without wasting time in showing it because they do a ton of drugs in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to say I did. I liked the little pop, and then the pupil, and it's just like that. That quick, okay, we've done drugs. Now let's get past the point. We've done drugs, and here's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think really adds to the kind of bizarreness of this movie, which I really think adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's why they have to set you up with that kind of with the drug stuff so fast, because this movie is going to get so weird so quickly.
Oh yeah.
You know, that they have to kind of just establish this is the world, and now we're going to fuck with it.
It's kind of like a gut punch. It really is.
Yeah. The coolest thing is they don't explain anything. Like some drug movies will say, "This is heroin," and this movie and this does this, and they don't explain anything.
Actually,
they do.
One of the trivias is saying that none of the characters ever mention heroin.
Yeah.
Well, they never say the word heroin in the movie. None of the characters.
But it is explained through the whole process of the movie. I mean, that's the point of the movie.
Yeah, but they don't sit you down like some drug movies will actually verbatim say, "Oh, this is what it does, and this is what it is." This movie doesn't give you
some kind of weird exposition with a bartender or something like that. But this one gives a lot of faith. Has a lot of faith in the audience.
Yeah. This one kind of lets you figure it out, which was one of the first drug movies. I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool because they don't say anything. They suggest everything. It's a very visual movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think adds to it. And so, I guess the part far as rating, I got to give it a 3 out of 5. It's not my favorite movie, but it's one of the better drug movies I've ever seen because it's not like Cheech and Chong or stuff like that. Which by the way, I'd love to see a happy heroin movie just because I think that'd be funny.
I might throw in Nice Dreams later in the show.
But this was cool. I think this was a fairly decent morality tale for a Hollywood movie. And between the cinematography, the way they shot it, and how they showed the characters going down the hill, I thought it was really well done. So it's a strong 3 out of 5 for me.
Okay, Jeffrey.
You know what? I pretty much agree with John. 3 out of 5 only because now if I were to watch this film, I had never seen it, watching it for the first time this past week or whatever for the show, I would have a totally different opinion on my rating had it been that I hadn't seen it before. I mean, because to me, it's much more a timepiece. It was shocking, extremely shocking at the time, and I think it did a better job at the time than if someone did now. So I would give it a 3 out of 5 just for that fact. I mean, it was a great movie. I liked it, but I think it was more effective the time of release.
I could definitely say a very time-sensitive movie.
All right.
So, 3 out of 5.
Not answering to that.
You just did.
No, you did a good job, sir.
Shit. Okay.
That's not how a princess speaks.
Now, I had seen this movie when it first came out.
Lady,
so I never watched the Ellen Bernstein show. I didn't know who the hell Jared Leto was at the time. So all of the characters, and I don't even think I was too aware of Jennifer Connelly. I think, but so when I started watching this movie in the beginning, or the first time I seen it, the only person I really recognized was Marlon Wayans, and obviously coming fresh off the Marlon Wayans or the Wayans brothers show, and I was a kid, so of course I watched that, and in the course of 10 minutes, it made me completely forget about the entire goofy show that he just did. Right. So the characters sold themselves to me really well, and I think even if I had seen it today, I'd be like, what, the 30 Seconds to Mars guy and the Wayans Brothers guy? And I still think that in 10 minutes I'd forget all about it and be completely wrapped up in the characters. For me, this is a strong 4 out of 5.
I totally agree on that.
Just kind of based off of what Ryan said is the fact that, the characters, the way they portrayed them was amazing. Unlike him, I did know who Connolly was. I know who Marlon was when it first came out. And I watched this movie. But as far as I'm concerned, the story holds up. It sticks with you. It's one of those that is memorable. And that goes into the actors, the directors, even the cut, the editors. Everything in this movie sticks with you. And
even if you don't want it to.
Yeah. Even if you don't want it to.
Right.
And based off of that...
It's like a Requiem for a Dream.
It makes such an impact on anybody that has ever seen it that it's a strong 4 for me. Just based on the fact that, the story, the everything. I just think it's a movie that makes an impact.
So
definitely.
The question is, if you don't see it for 5 years and you watch it 5 years from now, would you remember everything about the movie?
Practically everything, yeah.
I didn't even have to rewatch it. It's that vivid.
I was going to say, neither did I, dude. I've seen this movie probably, it's been a year, so I can tell you just about everything that happens.
Yeah.
So, when it came out, too, I saw it a couple times. It was one of those films I had to show all my friends, you know.
Right, yeah.
Hey, I'm really disturbed. You want to know why? Watch this.
So, pretty much. That's kind of what goes on with that one is, you know.
It is, too. It's like, hey, I feel so disturbed. I have to share this. I don't want to be the only one with this feeling.
Please tell me, watch this and tell me I'm not crazy.
Right?
So, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the movie news / rumor section of the show, and because it's James's pick this week, it's his turn.
Are you guys ready for indigestion?
I've already got my pills.
Okay.
Please don't.
So, Ryan, you might have seen this one. Have you seen Safety Not Guaranteed?
Oh, great movie.
I have, actually.
Okay, so you guys know Colin Trevorrow.
Mm-hmm. Is that the main character?
No, he's the director. He's a director.
Yeah, he was the star of that movie also. I think that was the guy, wasn't it?
I don't believe so. But let me double check. Nope, he is not actor.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Mark Plus.
So in 2015, he is releasing Jurassic World.
Oh, he's the one that's redoing the whole Jurassic Park.
Yes, they're re-releasing it and putting it out.
So wait, Jurassic. So it's a new Jurassic Park, or?
Yeah.
So
it's
the Jurassic
okay.
World.
So it's obviously has to be a sequel again.
It's like Jurassic Park 5, basically.
Yeah,
no, it's 4.
No, it's actually billed as Jurassic 5.
Because there's 1, 2, and 3. There was a 4?
I believe so.
No, there wasn't a 4.
This one says it's Jurassic 5.
There's no
Jurassic World 5.
Because Jurassic Park 3 was with Jeff Goldblum, I think.
He was in the first one too.
Yeah,
there was Lost World. Jurassic Park. Yeah.
But anyway, there's not really anything about it. It's supposed to be released in June 12, 2015. So, based off of what I've seen that they've been doing with CGI, computer generated, all that stuff, I'm actually kind of curious about how this one, because, I mean, the original Jurassic Park, the first one, holds up really well today. They still release it in theaters every, 2 years?
Which, by the way...
Something like it. Seems like they do.
Here's the rundown. At Jurassic Park, the very first one was released in 1993,
and it holds up today.
The Lost World, Jurassic Park, which was number 2, was released in 1997. Jurassic Park 3, 2001.
Right. So there wasn't a number 4. Right?
Yeah, there's no number 4.
All right, I'm probably getting it confused with the my other news. Anyway, so yeah, I'm actually curious about this one because I mean the last 2 that were made most recently.
Because the last one sucked.
It sucked. They sucked. Even the second one was really a letdown.
There wasn't nothing to push on that though.
Exactly.
That's why. This is like they have to bring it back, otherwise, it's dead.
I do hope that they bring back the little girl.
Yeah.
I want her and the boy, at least the little girl, because she's to me is the one character that for some reason I always remember.
That would be great.
Is it the Jello
both,
scene?
Indiana Jones types running through the wall.
It was more the scene when she was on the computer saying, "I know this," and it was some very ugly, hideous-looking GUI system.
They had her grow up in the other one,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I'm actually very curious to see how they're going to portray this one, what they're going to do with it, if they're going to try to re-release it as the first one, just redo the story.
This has got to be a whole new
after the third one failed so bloody miserably, for them to even write a script and get it sold, it has to say something.
Because it's all based on the third one, because everybody still says, "Wow, that movie holds up."
I was just about to say that's where
third one?
The first one.
Okay.
The first one is still amazing.
That's where I think they're saying, "Look,
old.
this is the Jurassic Park franchise. If we do this, we have to do it right." I think is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Conceptually, it holds up.
Exactly, because
yeah.
It's the easiest film to make billions of dollars off of if you do it right.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to go see it sight unseen. You don't have to know a thing about it to be like, new Jurassic Park movie.
New dinosaur movie, exactly.
Well, at least it's not made by Michael Bay, because otherwise you'd have dinosaurs exploding.
And then they'd be dressed as Ninja Turtles.
But
they wouldn't actually be Ninja Turtles. They would be mutant turtles.
Well, trying to find Colonel Schroeder.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited about this one just to see what they're going to do. We got to wait a couple years for it, but I'm very curious to see what's going to go on with that one.
Interesting. I understand that after a certain period of time, you have to do something with a franchise just so you don't lose the rights to it.
No, you don't.
No, yeah, you do. In terms of you have to do something with it in some stage of production with something you know, just so the rights don't revert back to such and such.
There's no reason to make like Lethal Weapon 12. I mean, you could let it die.
You could, but this kind of a thing where they, you know, in a world where they made rides off of these things at amusement parks.
True.
Yeah,
they're gonna keep pushing it.
And they probably are coming up on the wire for it. Like, oh, let's do something now.
They're gonna beat it. They're gonna beat it to death till that dinosaur evolves.
Oh, come on! Look at what Fast and Furious we're on now. What, 5?
No,
Seven.
Seven. Oh my God! See, that's how terrible that is.
Came out. So what was your other news?
Okay, my other news is so did you know that Arnold is back?
Yes.
Okay, so you did know that he is billed for the Terminator coming out in 2015.
Unfortunately, it's going to be the geriatric Terminator.
Now, what I'm curious about is the director for this movie has no movies to his name except for Thor. What is it? Dark World? The Dark World, which is coming out this year. He has not done movies. He's only done TV shows. He's done like The Sopranos, Game of Thrones.
Who's involved in it?
Let's stop
is Cameron
about that. Obviously, he knows what he's doing.
Well, I was just about to say.
Well, the
wait, he's also got the Emperor's New Clothes.
Well, here's the main question is
who's the Emperor's New Clothes or the Emperor's New Groove?
Yeah,
New Clothes.
Oh.
Damn it.
Well, here's the question: who's involved in it? Because if it's Cameron or so the other ones, I think that's going to be a bad thing.
I didn't see Cameron in here. Hold on, let me pull back. Yeah, James Cameron is a writer.
See, this is what I'm worried about, is because the last 24 Terminators sucked.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me throw some shows at Ryan, because I know Ryan's seen some of these. Some of the ones that he's directed is Oz. He did 2 episodes of Oz. He did an episode of 6 Feet Under.
Wow.
He did an episode of Carnival.
Carnival?
Carnival, yeah.
That was amazing.
He did 2 episodes of Deadwood,
They're
Lost,
like 3
Rome,
seasons.
Sopranos, Law and Order. He's done a lot of
So this guy's made his rounds on every good TV show in the last 15 years?
So
pretty much.
So this is
Question,
his first
though.
long format
Question.
movie.
Yeah.
That Carnival, was that the one that they put out only 2 or 3 seasons
Correct.
of?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the
It's
one.
such an amazing
Isn't
show.
it? That was
It's
a really
such an
great
amazing
show.
show.
Anyway, but my only really hesitation on this one, and from what I understand, they're revamping the whole industry of Terminator.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, but my real
Can't they just terminate it?
That's what I think. My real apprehension
Right.
is Arnold. Why is Arnold in this?
Because he was
He's
original
like
and
80
everybody...
years old now.
Seriously.
I
He's
think
60, but still, like.
But it's released in 2015.
come on, nobody wants to see him with his shirt off doing the flexing muscle thing. I mean, give me a
Yeah,
break.
this is built for
Well,
July.
I mean,
July 1st.
Obviously,
2015.
everybody's going to expect, you know, like, oh, it's going to be Arnold doing the shirt off. So I'm sure they're not going to go that direction.
Oh, yes,
I
they
have
will.
to turn the heart monitor off.
What
I'm
is he-
walking
You know what they're
through
going to do is they're
Magna
going to do like they did the first 2. Is you see him, and they're going to do "Bad of the Bone" by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. You know, dun dun dun. dun you know, I mean,
I'm
come
curious. Like, what is he supposed to? He was a T1000, right?
Yeah.
What is he going to be like? An age T1000 all of a sudden? You know, I'm serious.
Right?
Like, I didn't know
Yeah,
those
that's
robots
the only thing
age.
is how do you account for that?
They're gonna say, you know, like there were versions of the T1000 that magically somehow got older because of
Oh,
blah,
I
blah,
know
blah,
what he
blah.
is going to be. He's
At
going to
least
be the
his English
age
has
John
gotten better.
Connor.
Oh, speaking of like the...
Oh, kill me
This
with
is
a
what
spoon.
John Connor looks like.
Well, this is another one of those series like Jurassic Park where they just need the right film to spend the money on. I think that's what it is. It's like it has to do with the time. That's why 2 and 3 are going to suck. But usually if they've made it to 3, if they're going to make a 4th, if they don't want to flop, they have to basically, in my opinion, put all their money into number 4 to make it badass so you can continue that franchise as opposed to making
I actually think Terminator.
the next film.
I think Terminator is different because I think everybody likes T2 a lot better than the first one.
But
I
like
think that's
Force.
rare.
But
you're right.
But that's because of the special effects at the time.
Right.
When it came out,
Exactly.
it was like Jurassic Park, where it was like, oh my god, this is such pretty to my eyes that I don't know, you know.
But unlike Jurassic Park, they don't do theater releases every 2 years.
T2 was like one of the biggest theater releases.
No,
Everybody
I meant
loved that
like
movie.
after a certain amount of
Oh, I
time.
see
They
what you're
still
saying.
released Jurassic Park. I think they released it in theaters, 5 months ago?
Are you sure
The first one again.
You sure
Yeah.
everybody just didn't want to see Edward Furlong?
They've been doing it in 3D now. Is how they're releasing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
This one, I mean, after I mean, Pacific Rim Elysium, District 9. I mean, the stuff that they can do.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
As long as the story's good, then you don't have to worry about it looking good.
But the last Terminator was what, 3 years ago? They did the final
Christian Bale. I have no idea.
The final Terminator, and that one was such a letdown.
It was a little bit.
The previous two.
It was a little bit of a letdown. I mean, look, I'm a fan of the franchise. All right, cut me some slack.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week is Ryan's pick. And Ryan, what movie are you going to make us watch?
This is not making you watch. And hold on, let me find the year because I don't remember.
I was going to say what he's looking.
Okay, I'm doing a 1986 movie starring Will Wheaton and River Phoenix.
Oh wow!
Stand by Me.
You should have
Stand by Me.
Stand by Me.
Oh, the Stephen King written one. Oh, that's a great.
Yeah, based on a Stephen King novel.
Oh, great, good choice.
1986. And
that was 86.
Does not play like it's in the 80s, so you're welcome.
I was gonna say 86. I'm surprised it's not older than that. Actually, to tell you the truth.
I actually was surprised too, but yeah.
Great movie.
I mean, come on, Ryan was 1.5 when the movie came out.
Correct.
Yeah, he was big pimping.
Big pimple.
Not yet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to remind you guys that we do have a Facebook page, so please do us a favor. Go like it and tell us what movie you would like us to review. Or if you have a comment, let us know. And since it's the end of the show, I want to remind you that I gave Requiem for a Dream a 3 out of 5. James gave it a 4 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 4 out of 5. Jeff gave it a 3 out of 5. And we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.